live, so read out real quick, and then we'll get to a few announcements, and then we'll get started with the tours. Not feeling good today. It's a little bit stomach problems, headache, just lots of fun going on, so bear with me. We've got 2 homes that I want to visit today, so I'm going to try and get through both of them. But just a heads up in case we have to close it up early. I'm going to try and soldier on through this like I did last week. We do have maintenance today, as usual, Wednesday being maintenance day. Today's is going to be a little longer than normal. I say than normal. Generally speaking, I think it's about a half an hour or something, but today is going to be 4 hours and 30 minutes. So if you'd rather not come into the live chat and just do some playtime before that shuts down this afternoon, do that. You can always catch these on YouTube. I upload all of my videos for those that are unable to meet this early hour in the morning that I usually run. I don't think it's for anything special per se. I think it's just classic scheduled maintenance, but it's just going to be a 4-hour one plus. So just a heads up on that. Also, for those of you that were interested in or participating in the community showdown, I believe today is or was the last day for teams to submit their screenshots. Registration was a little while back, so if you didn't get registered, then you don't have to worry about it because you're not in it anyway. But if you did get registered and are still planning to do those screenshots, this is like down to the wire, so don't waste any more time. Get that taken care of ASAP. I believe their plans are to announce the winners for the community showdown on the 27th, so that'll be next week. So we probably won't be able to congratulate those that win and participate until the following month, but hopefully we can at least start some community showcases after that, because I'd like to go through at least the winners. I'm hoping to be able to, see if they post a list of those that actually participated so that we can visit them as well. But it really just depends on how Carbine handles the announcement of the results and everything. I have been seeing several community team leaders, or at least participants of, announcing that they did make their deadlines. So wishing them congrats. I mean, not congrats, but good luck on that endeavor. And anyone else that happens to be participating in that. I know it's a pretty big request, getting all of that system, not only getting familiar with it, but also getting it set up. I've been seeing a lot of communities popping up, and I can tell that it's not an easy task to nicely meld all 5 plots in together, unless it was like a pre-planned kind of thing. So I imagine we'll see more and more of these in the future, but kudos to those that managed to get a full community set up in the short amount of time that they were given to meet the competition deadline. Because I know that's not an easy thing to do. We do have some speed builders, but I think the majority prefer to take their time and not only just to make sure they perfect it, but just it takes time to gather up materials and, for funding and everything. So yeah, thanks to those that have participated. It's always good that the community reaches out and gets involved in these competitions, because the more people are involved and the more hype there is built up around it, I think that encourages Carbine to continue bringing out those type of events. I know there's supposedly no Shade Z one going on, but fingers crossed there's a Winterfest version that they will pick up for this year. If not, I do want to say that I am planning to do some showcases both for Shades Eve and Winterfest. So if you have or know of a friend that has a plot that is Shades Eve themed and or Winter/Winterfest themed, that hasn't been toured yet in the past few years, or even if it has and it's actually changed from the last time we took a look, would be delighted to hear about that. I have a few already lined up for both, but you know, the more the merrier. I'm happy to spend several weeks looking through multiple homes if that's the case. Preferably not any that are attached to a community, um, unless that community is complete. Because obviously, if we're going to hit a plot on a community, I'd rather take a look at the entire community. So just keep that in mind when you're suggesting these, or at least be aware that that's my priority. I'm going to be looking for complete communities or individual plots. Either one works. Also, they did make an announcement that Shades Eve is going to go live on the, when is that? I think it was the 18th. It doesn't have, the little announcement thing doesn't have a date on it, but I think it's the 18th. So be aware of that. There's lots of housing goodies you can get, the gourds, and oh, is it the 20th? Thank you, Poi. I appreciate that. So keep that in mind. Uh, be aware if you, I don't know if there's anything new coming, but at least, you know, if you got some things last year like the effigies and the wagon carts and things like that, if you're needing more of those, this will be your opportunity to snag up a bunch of it, a bunch of extras. Also remember that the pumpkin candy bowls that are actually available on the Housing Vendor Direct in Housing, those will become available again automatically, I think, once the event starts. So those of you like myself that only got like one of each and later regretted it, this will be your time to stock up on those. Let's see, I'm trying to think. There is the, I forget the name of it, maybe Poi can help me on this too. It's the renovation quest line thingy. They changed it. They used to have the chase events pretty regularly. Every weekend or so it changed a different kind of event. And some of these actually awarded housing goodies, including NPCs and different things. They've changed that up to have a monthly, I think it's a week-long setup where once a month for a week duration, they have some kind of renovators, something or other, that housing folks can do. It's a quest line, like a little uh, I don't really know what all it entails. I'm pretty sure it's nothing super difficult, but it allows you to collect those housing materials on a semi-regular basis. What it is, I think there's three or four different loot pools that they draw from. So I think this last time it was like the uh, weapons crates, the ones that actually have functioning doors. Um, Things like that. I think it's still going on. I think it was like supposed to run from the 13th to the 18th, or no, to the 20th maybe. I don't know. I think you got a couple more days for that. So, and ooh, I'm not sure where the NPC is supposed. I assume it's at the usual hub there in the city, but I'm not positive. But yeah, it's supposedly going on right now, and everything. So let's see, what else is there? I think that's it. Kind of a little foggy brain, so pardon if I'm kind of rambling as well. But yeah, so good morning, Poi, and anyone else that happens to be lurking around in the chat channel. Today we are on Entity, NA. Last week we visited a couple of amazing homes on Javit. So this week we've gone to the other region. Feels like I'm going to the dark side or something. We are on Grismo Harbor, which is a plot by Sava Drex. I think I'm saying that right, Sava or Sava Drex. Um, it is kind of a unique build. I just took a quick glance through this place when I first found it, and so I'm not sure if there's an underground place, like, you know, that it has access to, like the prefab home, whether it be a bunker house or whatever. So we're gonna go through, and hopefully we'll discover if that's actually the case or if there's actually an underground tunnel. But you'll see what I mean here very shortly. But when you first come in, you are of course ported into the teleport pad. You can see it's been surrounded by stone. I think it's the sandstone bits, and it has a upside down snowy hill. You can tell by the white puffs of snow there. Um, anyway, it's basically, they've set it up so that you're forced to go up. Now, we have seen a lot of builders in the past. I say a lot, there's been a good number of builders that like to play with the elevation of, options that we have. Ever since the upside down massive umbrella tree was discovered to replicate the ground below it, and then later with the introduction of the Protostar Insta Hills from the cash shop, and then the upside down snowy hill from the housing vendor, folks have really enjoyed being able to um, uh, modify their plot in a way that wasn't typical before. In the very beginning, when we first started with housing, it was always just, you know, you go in, you're at the teleporter, everything's flat, you don't see any kind of things in the distance. Now we've learned the tricks of oversizing materials so that you have a broader sense of like property as if it's going off into the horizon. And elevation has been a big thing because a lot of people got tired of just the flat ground, and they were always looking for ways to make things look hilly or mountainous, or as if they were going up a cave or down a cave, and things like that. So this one is similar in the respect that right off the bat you're forced to go considerably high up. Um, you do see that they kind of decorated up the entrance with, I don't know if these are considered guards or just happens to be some people playing around, but you can see they've kind of cluttered it up with different things. They get their little cookout here. But right off the bat, you're made to go up. This is an oversized, I think it's called a squid platform. Um, and it's a little tricky going up the stairs if you're just calmly walking up it like I am here. Sometimes I'll get stuck. I think it depends on where you're running. And obviously, your character's going to kind of be floating above the stairs just due to how the collision works on this particular item. Even the oversized regular staircase and such has that issue. Um, it's just one of those things you have to kind of ignore. But you can see it looks like it comes to this dead end here. And you're wondering, okay, what's the dealio? What it is if you pop up through it, you actually pass through this. Now, I don't think this is actually a hollow item per se. I don't know if it's because you're coming up from the bottom of it or what, but it works similar to how, whoops, that's weird. Kind of walking in the air. I don't know about that. But it's similar to how at the teleporter where people will cover it up with things. Depending on how they work it, you might end up kind of below it, or your character will look like they're like halfway in the ground. I think it kind of works the same way. But once you pass through this, you won't be able to come back down to the staircase. You'll have to use the return to teleporter uh, skill, the little crystal on your housing taskbar thing. So just keep in mind that it's a nifty little trick. I say that and I can't get through. There we go. You can kind of see it. There we go. Whew. So this is what you see when you pop through, if you do it better than I do. Even on a semi-flat surface, I have trouble jumping, so just forgive me on that. But you can see you basically come out onto the harbor, you know, the namesake of the plot. Now, I think the reason, or one of the reasons they might have built it so that you have to go up considerably high, is because if we run to the border, notice how the honeycomb wall is not showing up. Now, we've shown this in a couple of plots prior. I think it was Maddie's plot that one of her beach house areas was a good example of this. The higher you go, the actual honeycomb barrier for the plot only goes so high. So if you really elevate the ground of your plot to be at or above it, it looks as if there isn't a barrier. You are stopped, you can't walk past it like so, but you don't see it. So for those that are looking for a more realistic, never-ending horizon like this, that's probably the smartest way to handle it. Yes, it's going to be trickier. You'll be limited to whatever you can do for that 2500 decor on the exterior, unless you figure out a way to make another tunnel back down to, say, your bunker house or whatever, which we have seen in the past. I can think of a few off the top of my head that have done that. But definitely a fun way of doing it. It's great for screenshots if you want to, you know, be right up on the edge and, whoops, don't want to have it alert me and bump me out of the plot. But it just has a great look to it. It looks much more realistic than having that honeycomb barrier popping up. So it's, I'm not for positive what's being used for the water. It is solid. You can actually walk on it. There is a little bit of depth here. I don't think it's the like layered glass. That's solid. You wouldn't be able to sink into it like this. So I can only suspect that it's one of the upside down silver chalices that may have been color shifted to give it a more bluish look. That, or there is an actual blue item that's underneath it to give it the color. I honestly don't know what combination they're doing, but it's a great effect. Yes, the water is literally shallow, but still pretty nifty, and it looks great. The sand is, I think it's a combination of insta-hills and snowy hills. You can tell when they change to a different item just based off of the little white puffs coming out. Most of the rock formations are, of course, the sandstone, and again, because it's a high elevation, the borders don't show up, so it's really easy to kind of think, oh, I can run off to that part and not have it affect anything, and then you just run into an invisible wall. The harbor itself is mostly boardwalk pieces, I believe, and then it's littered with a bunch of little vendor things, like an actual harbor for those that are coming in from the ships. So we come up on the first one. It's just a bar with an assortment of weaponry here. Notice again the boardwalks being laid out above the sand for the base of it. 2x4s as well. Now the little ships I don't know the names of these exactly, but I think this is one of those protostar humidifiers. They're upside down, and that's what the big ships are. So it's like little steamships. And then the effect of the smoke, I think it's either the white smoke of the blue flare or some actual white smoke from the smoke pack that you get in the cash shop. Just by how it's moving, I suspect it's from the cash shop, but probably either or would work. If you can't get a hold of those, you could always use, a lot of people again use the backside of the hovering cot for like a little weird mystical watery effect, and also the buoyant blue crystals. They give off a bit of a steamy smoke stuff, as well as the little twinkly blue bits that kind of look like will-o-wisp kind of deals. These little submarine things, again, I can't remember what these, it's the ones with the like the vacuum tubes coming out the bottom, and they're just using them as like weird little submarine looking thingies, water vehicles, I guess. The lighthouse is an oversized hazard cone. It's got that little weird animation, so it works really well. The idea is good. I don't remember what this is. I think it's the base of one of the, oh, it's one of those towers, Exile Tower or something. It's got like, I think this is the bottom of it, and probably the rest of it's down below in the ground. This is a very cute, simple, I think it's just basically two pieces to make this lighthouse. We've seen other lighthouses um, with a lot more detail as far as the amount of items they use, pillars and such, and using fires as the little beacons inside. But this is a very clever use of the hazard cone, using it as the light going around. Now, if you want an actual light effect that, you know, kind of beams across, I think a lot of folks use the, I think it's the haunted window, the one that no, the train, I think, the train window, as if there's a vehicle moving past. The haunted window, I think, just flashes like it's lightning. And then the train one actually has an animation where it moves across. Um, could probably get away with using that in some manner to make it look like the light is actually flashing across the buildings and such. Let's see. I don't know how they managed to get the boat and all that they put together on it past the border. If you actually walk out here, you can see that the border comes up right where the boat is. And so again, I'm not sure how they finagle that way, but you can see they've added windows. There's a spear kind of thing. There's spotlights and containers. Really kind of hard to see with the steam there. They've like blinged out this humidifier item, which I think is what that is, to make it look like a nice big boat. Same way over here. And this one's got like some of that black smoke coming out of the chimney part up here. Very clever use of the items, but again, I'm not sure how they managed to get it past the border. So, you know, it's just one of those things. I think it's another one of those deals where you just kind of got to play around with it, tweak it, adjust it, and hope that it comes out like you're wanting. Same way with the covering of the entrance. There's some items that work and some that don't, and you just have to kind of trial and error it. Hey Faye, good morning. Glad you could join. So onward with the vendors. We have a little place for folks to come and sit and smoke. This table here is basically two of the Heart collection tables with a rug on top. You can see it's been color shifted. It's usually kind of a blue, I think. I like the roofing here. It's just rain gutters. being used kind of like a corrugated tin roof, sort of. You got the vegetable and fruit vendor here. Again, the color shifting really helps change up things. Having the bluish fruits turned green, it just brings more variety to it. Meat vendor here, great way for making use of those carcasses that you get a hold of. Again, some color shifting to add some variation in like these intestines. Kind of gross anyway on their own, but there you go. This vendor is one of relics. Got the book vendor here. Tea. This one I think is actually attached to a table, and they just sunk it down so that the table's hidden. Being able to hide stuff that you don't want showing is a fun way of making something new. Again, color shifting just to give a little variety. There's a little picnic area. Little tiki bar. Notice the tiki bar is just a bowl. It's one of the green bowl. I call it the turtle shell bowl because a lot of people have used it for scales for like turtles and fish and such. It's just pillars and the bowl for a nice little canopy type deal. Others, if you really want to go full on tiki style, a lot of them like to use the hay piles. If you don't want to just resort to always using the tiki roofs here. This here, I think this is part of one of the summer decor bits. I honestly don't know what part, if it's like a top of one of those umbrella thingies or what. And then they've inserted that multi-flower vase uh, just to make it look a little different. You can see they're utilizing a lot of the waterfall decor. You've got all of the cattails and lily pads. You've seen the little bugs flying around. That's some of the decor from that, including the little steam gliders out here. And then you've got the summer decor pack with like the beach towels. Comes with the Barbie and any number of other things. The buoy here, I think that's an actual item. I don't recall where it comes from. I suspect it's probably some of the new raid or dungeon stuff. I don't really do those, so I don't get access to that. But I have seen that in a few other plots, so I'm pretty sure that's just a standard come as is item. What it's called, I don't know. I suspect something about buoy or floaty thing or something. Again, color shifting to help just add a little variety. They don't use it everywhere, but it's touches of it here and there to make it a little different. Again, I believe this is one of those upside down, I forget what I called it, protostar humidifier or something. And they've just added various windows and other items like this is the porthole window. These are the ones with the shutters on them, and turned it into like a little boat. You can see some of the waterfall here being used instead of the steam effect as the other one has got. You actually see the waterfall, just giving a little extra motion to really make it look like maybe it's moving or just having docked or something. And you got the smaller one here, like a little tugboat. Chewa Boy, is that what it's called? Well, there you go. Is it in-game shop? Well, that's probably another reason why I don't really do too much purchasing. Okay, over here we have more. I don't know if this is supposed to be the residential side where like homes are, or if it's actual businesses. But they have these. They're using the speaker. I think it's the oversized. You know, the speaker. It has like I think it's some books and a beer, and then it's got a beer trophy on top. Talking about the speaker that has like the little Draken poster on the side. Um, I think they've oversized it, pushed it down to be able to use this gear as a door. And then they've got the faux granite hatch as the inside of it. And of course, they've color shifted the gear trophy to be black and white, so it matches the coloring of the faux door. To make it look like these little, I don't know, tuba type entrances or something. Now, if you have access to just the regular giant gear, that would probably work as well. You just color shift it. I think it's usually kind of a blue-green color. You can color shift it off. These faux doors here, they're a little misleading because they're using an actual functional door, but it doesn't actually open because obviously this part is a dresser. They're using the back side of the brown dresser to make it look like a nice little archway with a little bit of an awning as well. So it's a little tricky there. People might be a little disappointed if they're new to housing and don't understand why is the door functional but you can't go in it. The buildings themselves, most of them are the cellar entrances. That's where you get this brick texture with a little bit of, I think it's Dragon floors. I think those are the ones that has the edges with the looks like rivets, and then granite pillars. And then I think these here are just granite walls. The texture's a little different for the stone. You can see they're using these little faux gear doors quite a lot. This, I think, is one of the arcade signs, and they've just, again, used that color shifting to make it look a little different than normal. Just kind of backtracking to make sure we're hitting every place here. Go over here to this spot. Next to the lighthouse. This little tent thing, the lop tent, that comes from the lop decor pack. It comes with like some jugs and crates and a kerg and some lop themselves, and then the tent. I think it's also with some string lights and such. Notice how they make it look like things are kind of sunk into the sand. A little, a lot of people are tempted to kind of have everything even with the ground, but letting it be kind of sunk down makes it look, it just adds a little more realistic element to it. Like it's been buried a little bit. Been sitting there so long that it's just kind of piled up. Some of these tubes and stuff you see here, those are from the Arcterra area, I think, some Osun piping and such. This is a water trough. And then they've added in a waterfall to make it look like moving water. I imagine the sound is pretty loud, but don't know for sure because I don't have my sound on. The little bulletin board here, that's just the back side of one of the, probably a mounted head thing, and it's just been turned around so you just see the back. Notice the roofs. Again, well, it looks like that might be Oran floors instead of the Draken ones, as I suspected. And then staircase landings just on the very top of that. Again, color shifted to make it look a little different. The mats, the rolled and the flat, again, those come from the Far Trader Fab Kit. It's usually, it just says it's like limited and one, but it's not like it never pops up again. So if you go to one of the Far Trader Fab Kits on a plot or on your own plot and you purchase it, just wait a little while, come back, and it'll be restored and you can buy extras. Again, a lot of faux buildings, but we've talked about the pluses and minuses of that. It's one way for a builder to make it look like there's a lot more going on than there actually is. So we come into one of the main buildings. You can see they're utilizing a lot of the exotic decor. These are the dividers. We've seen the vases used at some of the vendor bits. This little eye thing on the walls is a combination of the leaf windows. It's that bottom little shelf thing that it has. This part I'm not positive about. I'm not quite sure what that is. This is the eye from, it's either the eye stalk or probably the splotch. This has been a little color shifted because I think both are pretty deep purple. Creepy because it moves and everything, but I think they were going for that anyway. Appears to be like a tavern bar kind of setup. You have the bar here, which is mostly 2x4s and exile floors, I think. And then just lots of little tables. It's got a nice big window to show the outside. This part here, this is the top of the actual bar, the one that there's an empty one and then there's the other one. It's the one with the bottles and everything. That's part of this. There's also some, I think it's one of the gates, Draken gates or something. There's also these, I have no idea what these are, tentacle bits. I don't know if that's a couch, one of these nautical couches, because they have those blue tentacles as well. And it's just oversized. I suspect it is because if you get close to it, it looks like it's usable, but you can't actually use it. But clever. Yeah, it looks like an oversized couch. You can see the stripes here. And it's like it's turned on its back. And we're looking at the legs of it. Let me see if they got one here. Yeah, I think it's this. You can see the brackets here as well, which is these here. So an interesting use for an item. Again, if you turn it like that and have it oversized, it's obviously not going to be functional like an actual couch or seat. But every now and then, you saw how some of these tentacles lit up. Sometimes you have to, be aware that it'll do that. I like how they've got a little cellar entrance here. They've actually made it look like it's functional in a way. So they got a little bit of the ladder sticking out. They've got the staircase landing uses the little latch door for it, and making it look like somebody go down and like maybe to the wine cellar or something. For the little seating areas, again, those are probably just domes or cylinders that are sunk down to make that little raised area. Anything else? The tables here, those are the brown tables, the ones you kind of get in the starter housing kits. They're with the really long legs. I see more and more people using them as tables, but they always sink them down to a point where the long legs aren't showing. They just look much better that way. Again, plenty of faux doors here. Here. Some more of that oh soon decor. This is a Merg explosive. And around here till we get to the ramp to go up. And this is where you can get a good shot of some of the city, the town. Better overview of how the buildings are arranged. Some decking pieces for this awning here. Again, another great way of being able to capture the boats at the harbor. If you're wondering what that is, that's the top of one of those dividers, the exotic dividers. That's where we come in, right there. You got a little ladder here for this little balcony. Okay, and that leaves us with, I think this is the last building on this particular plot. Most of it is pillars, and of course you've got the dividers. There's a little bit of like archway bits and just regular floors. You can see for the staircases they used the same thing they're using for a lot of the buildings down here, the cellar entrances, and they've just inset the decking stairs. This little platform here, I don't know if this is meant for like, you know, the community can come for like special announcements or something, but it's just hover park pieces, I think. It could also be, you could use domes and such to get the same stair step effect if you want it. And of course, the sign itself is part of, I think it's the Space Taco stand. So in we go. And right off the bat, again, pillars. I think some of the red is the exile walls. You can see they've got the metal dividers. Some of this is that exotic decor. I think it's top of a stool or something. It's got that nice little pattern. It always reminds me of like a cherry pie for some reason. I'm not really sure. I think it's the lattice work of it. They have these ladders here, but if you just jump, you can get up to the seating. The tiered part is just hover part pieces. This sign here, it's a combination of, it's those, it's a trio of like little mini portraits. It comes as one item, but it's like 3 pictures, and it's just a really oversized version, and then it's shoved down so you only see the one. So using that as the frame, but then it's another portrait picture inset inside it to make it look a little different. The stage is, I think it's the exotic wall decor. It's the one with the, it looks like a Pumera, a metal, like a robotic Pumera on it. There's also, I can't remember the name of this item here with the wings, but I think it's got like a flag hanging down, and they've just tilted it a little bit. You don't see that part, and then maybe color shifted some of it. I think the wings are typically like a bright blue. But using that as kind of a stage background. Then you got the little VIP sections here. This is a tree table with one of the brown tables inset on top, so you don't see the little butterfly pattern that you usually have on the top of that. Nice view of the outside. And then same thing on this side, the mirrored. Yeah, a little bit of color shifting. Got a purple pillow instead of a green one here. If you're wondering about the edge here, I think this is, I want to say it's curved glass, but I'm honestly not positive. It looks very bright, but it'd have to be like lots of layers to get that going, and then having the curved walls inset on it to make it look solid rather than see-through. The ceiling is the granite floors, and they've just color shifted it so it's not that gaudy green and yellow that looks like weird bathroom tiles. And I think that is it. Like I said, I just from my visit before and just looking through it now, I have yet to figure out if there's any path or passage that leads back down to, like, say a prefab home or some fab kits, or like the bunker house or whatever. It looks like they've just concentrated completely on the exterior decor count. So while it doesn't look like a whole lot, and you can't get into a lot of the buildings themselves take up quite a bit of decor count, just putting those together. But I like the idea of this little kind of like an island kind of deal going on, harbor thing. Great for a role play spot for those that, you know, are saying that they're on a boat trip or something, and they come into this harbor to get supplies and stuff. So there you go. That is Sava Drex's Grismo Harbor. So the next and final place we're going to visit today is by Vorka Willowbrush. Now, if I remember rightly, this one is heavily orange in its stylings, if I recall correctly. Again, I don't know if it's the introduction of the community system or what, but the time to get into a new plot really seems to be extended lately. Or it could be just the more items on the plot, the longer it takes to generate it. I have no idea, but it just seems to me lately, like the last, well, since they introduced the community system, it seems like it takes a long time. You can see this one opted not to really do much about the entrance. They left the teleport pad pretty much alone, but they've barricaded it up so that the exonite walls kind of, flag it on both sides. It's called Willows. Um, so like I said, I think it's heavily orange themed, and you see what I mean by that as we progress through this plot. We're going to take a tour through the exterior, and then we'll hit the inside of the main house as an ender to this. Most of these flowers that you see here, those are from the spring decor pack. It comes with vines and picket fences and lots of different flower groupings. They've got like the strips and the curved strips and the little patches and things like that. If you can't get a hold of those, now that we have the color shifting option, you can take those white weeping cups and color shift them to different varieties and then bunch them together in bunches and have multiple colors of different flowers if you want to go for a nice clump of, I mean, there's the regular individual flowers like the Galeris one, and there's the yellow flower pot. You can change it, but I'm talking if you're wanting to get large clumps of flowers in one go, the Weeping Cups is probably your best option. Next to that is the Canary group, but that one requires, I think it's WildStar reputation with that group there. So if you don't have a high rep on your character from that, and it's a pretty high level area, then it's less likely you'll get to use it. But because I think it's one of those bind on pickup things, so it's not like you can just send it to your alts. Again, you can see that this builder opted to leave off the clutter for the ground, and then they've chosen to litter the grass themselves. Again, this is a clever way of really clearly defining the paths of the plot. They've went a little step beyond that by adding the golden arrow decor to kind of lead you through, but this allows you to be more controlling to indicate where the overgrown grasses are and where the actual worn down path is. So let's just go up here. This staircase, again, it's just the regular one, but I think they've doubled it just so that you don't see through it, because there's actually some gaps between the stairs, and I think they preferred to have it solid. So I think it's just two of them overlapping each other. You can kind of see that here. The edges of it is hover park pieces. And then for this particular instance, I think it's a combination of Protostar Instahills. You can see these little bumps here. And then the base of the ground is, this one looks like it's an upside down massive umbrella tree because it's got brown dirt coming up instead of the white snow. Either or works. I think they just had the tree in this case. So we were coming up on this little dance area, little party place. Pretty standard stuff. I mean, it's not any strange combinations of items. The little waterfall pond area here, I think this is either a window or a bowl edging here that's just been oversized. And then of course they're using the actual waterfalls from the decor pack that you get from the cash shop for this bit. This mossy stuff that you see coming off, that's part of the, I think it's called the ruby-eyed something, the statue, the head. It looks like a skull head. It's just the back side of it, and they've got it blended in with different stones and stuff. The little fire pit here, that's just, I think it's just the regular campfire with either a cylinder or dome of the Draken variety. Notice those gosh awful Marauder chairs that are usually that disgusting banana yellow. They've color shifted them to pinks and purples. Softened them up nicely. Right here we have a little bar, making use of some of the Red Moon decor. Here's that taco stand, the one that had the, maybe it's the other one. The one that has the sign on it. I always look at these to see if anyone actually puts a taco there. I did before, but I always wonder if anyone else is going to do that too. Again, I think it's similar here where it's either the edge of a window, an orange window, or a bowl or something. And then they've just covered it with a Draken dome or cylinder to cover up the window part, and then overlaid it with the waterfalls. You can see they're not only using the animation from the waterfalls themselves, that comes with a little bit of the steamy, smoky stuff, but it looks like they've also added, you can see these like, looks like prism stuff. I think it's also part of the, like the backside of the hovering cot. Okay, let's go back front here. There's more up top, but I think you get to it from a different place. I'm back here. I know the arrows are telling me go that way, go, but I'm just kind of wandering off. That'll get us to the bunker house. So we were earlier. Here's one of the fab kits. It's the Ferris wheel one. Now it could be that they chose this one in particular because once you reach the top, it might give you a really great view of the plot itself. Sometimes folks will use it to give access to an upper area. They'll have a platform somewhere close to the top where you have to ride the ride to get to that. I don't see that happening here, but again, it's an idea folks have used. Here's a little souvenir vendor. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like, it looks like target practice. Maybe you shoot here, and if you win, then you get a prize or something along those lines. So like a little mini festival thing. Here's some of that lop decor. It comes with the hay pile and the curd. back on the path here. Okay, so we're back at the entrance. We'll follow the arrows this time. Again, you can see that they're using a lot of the spring flowers and a lot of like the Protostar Insta-Hills to make these little elevations of like little mounds of grass. This thing here, I think it's supposed to be like those bouncy castles like the kids would go in. I think that's kind of what it's supposed to be like because they have all these cushions in here. Maybe it's a story time thing or whatever, but this is what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a bouncy castle. I don't think that's the idea behind. Well, yeah, okay, maybe, maybe it is. So obviously they've got a low grav pad fab kit beneath this, so it's an actual bouncy castle. Oh, isn't that fun? This is supposed to be like a little flower design here. You can see it. Um, the green pillows for the leaves and stem, and then the pink ones for the petals, and then we've got the little skeleton candy there. This is utilizing some of those Winterfest gingerbread house decor. You got the candy bits, um, the gumdrop things, the little netting here that's from the Osun graded or the floor panel or something. It's the one you get relatively early on in the Arctera reputation bit, and then you've got the candy canes topped with the ornate pillars. So it looks like how you could get to the upper levels here. Again, fun idea. Looks like I can get to it from over there as well. So if I can't get to the upper part any other way, we'll come back to the castle. But a cute idea to be able to utilize that strange and often confusing fab kit, the low grav pad, in a fun way. There's you a bouncy thing. Okay, we know the arrows lead to the bunker house, but we'll save that for last. Another little lop house. Remember, all of these bushes, all the grasses, and all the other bits, that's all put in individually. A little memorial grave. Excuse me. Some things like this, you often wonder if it's has a very special meaning to the builder. I've seen a few that looks like it's to commemorate a lost pet. They'll actually put like a dog bone or something using the skeleton bits to make it look like a little dog bone. I've seen a few make like little Easter eggs where all the plots that they build have this particular item or items on it in some location. And I find those kind of things interesting. Again, it's one of the disadvantages of not being on the plot with the builder to be able to hear the details about why they did it this way or whatever, but still interesting nonetheless. Now, I like the way they've done this to make it look like it's a movable door, like it's on a track of some sort using the tire here. At least that's what I get from how it's set up, make it look like it rolls closed. Most of it I think is curb walls. Now notice they've got some greenery here. That's an upside down snowy hill. And then I don't know what's on top. I think it's one of the Protostar Insta Hills. So they're kind of like covering it up both ways. I think that's how it's set up. Can be for positive, but again. These little setups here with the cushions, those are just bowls with pillows in them, and then they're attached to the tree tables. I think this is a fun way of, again, setting up a little orany type situation for little couples or groups to gather and sit and read and stuff. Hey Aurora, good morning. Here they have kind of like a museum type of setup with all of their special artifacts on display. You can see this one trying to make it look like it's set up like kind of like a holograph thing. It's just the gear lamp inset on top of the cylinder in this case. Uh, Same way here. And that's the case all the way around. It's one way of displaying your poster collection or rare to get items that maybe you got from a dungeon or a raid drop that you normally don't, or a place to put things that you want to use but they don't quite go with anything else. Showing them in a collection like this or in an attic pile or whatever, again, is always a fun way of being able to include them in a build even though they might not match everything else that's going on. Notice they do color shift the bowls to give them a little variety, so you have pinks and greens. The centerpiece here is probably the way they've decorated the floor here, if I can get a good shot of that. I think it's just framed glass for these bits here with the Orin windows inserted in each. A cylinder or dome combination for the flooring. Just done in a very nice design. Now behind the staircase and snuggled in with all of the overgrowth and hedges, little door here leads to, I don't know if this is the caretaker's room or something. It's kind of like a Harry Potter thing. It's very bare minimum. They've got a bed. You can see this strange fiery goblet. I don't know if that's like magical potion or something. It's one of the fires you get from the decor pack on the cash shop. Yeah, I think it's supposed to represent like a Harry Potter thing because it got the little Google in there, the Hedwig. Again, little Easter eggs like that is fun. This is just the Technophage circuitry boards. Very high-tech security system here. Again, this is some of the Red Moon panels. It's like all kinds of stuff you got to go through to get to the. So somebody's private quarters, I guess, or a little lab works or something. Private quarters, because there's a bed there. The bulletin board is just the back side of a travel poster. There's some more of that exotic decor. Remember the couch. That one's a little quirky. Can't sit on it. It's like you walk right through it. There's no collision whatsoever. It's not functional. But we talked about ways to get past that by either adding pillows or insetting an actual functional bench or something inside it, and that can help you fix that problem. One of the rare instances where we see the actual exile fireplace in all its glory. Half the time, I think or more than half the time, I think we cover it up and block it. Here's the bathroom. The tub part is arches, chua pillars. The little towel rack is a couple of airtight containers with a pillar across it. The water itself is, I think it's the winding rivers. They've just got multiples of them. Got a bench inset here. Some people just use 2x4s or hover part pieces to make a little seating, but you know, there you go. The faucet itself is two different Chua cups. It's the bottoms of those for the little handles. One's been color shifted, or maybe both have, to give you a hot cold thing. And then this part here, that's from the garden hose, I believe. The little sink area, which is fairly tall for my character, apparently. It's a combination of hover part pieces. You've got staircase landings, bottles for the handles here, a window for the mirror. They used the hover part piece here, which actually makes up most of this. It has that natural cutout here, and they took advantage of that and just made the Cassian floor like an inset to that. A nice contrast as well. And the toilet, they've actually used the Flush-O-Matic, but they've modified it, which I thought was fun. Because you can see that they've actually got an actual seat inset into it to make it look like the toilet lid is open. The green light is I think it's called the Eldon antenna. I want to say it comes from Far Side stuff, but I'm not for positive. I don't know if it's a world drop or if it's specifically from something there, but I think it's called Eldon antenna. Most people, it's actually got a stand. You can kind of see part of it here. So it stands up and it's it's like a pole. But most of us use it in this way where it's either above, or I've seen some use it as track lighting for a room. And it's got some great lighting. It's pretty bright. A lot of us like to use it during Shades Eve because it's kind of creepy green. But yeah, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, they've got the Dominion chair inset, the cylinder here that's covering up part of the Flush-O-Matic 5000 or 3000 or whatever it's called. And then they have one of the exotic stools inset inside that, just to make it look more like a stool. So yeah, I like the use of the Dominion chair to make it look like the lid is open and that it could actually shut. Using one of the Macari bits for the toilet paper dispenser. There's actually a Merc dynamite there sticking out of it. It's like a high-tech dispenser there. Okay, onward. The next spot. This here, this little entrance, like a decontamination kind of thing going on. It's a combination of the blue light lounge tables with the, what are they called? The blue flares, 3 of those, that's the smoky effect. And then the technophage ones. It's the ones that look like, I think they look like gas pumps. I don't remember what the actual name of it is, but that's how I think of it. To have this little setup as if you're being sprayed down for germs or something. I'm not sure what all it is. Blue light lounge table again. little medical lab. The little containers are just dome cylinders, curved glass, and then a detonator for the little controller. Again, this is the hovering medical cot. It's got that effect that a lot of people like to use for water. Um, you just kind of turn it, sink it down, enlarge it, and it covers a nice amount of space. Cheap, easy way to kind of do that. Some quarantine rooms, I guess. The Dominion scanner, uh, Dominion generator, some reinforced walls there. Looks like graded shelves for the topping. Again, the canisters, this looks like they're using part of the Macari, I don't know if it's Macari table or a Macari stool. I think it's for the top and bottom. Then they got the holographic, it's the long portable one for the back side, as if it's powering or generating the bits inside here. It gives it kind of a little animation as well. And then domes and curved glass. This whole ceiling is the technophage platform, I think is what it's called. Using that antenna again. Again, it gives great lighting. So here we have, I don't know if this is supposed to be an observation thing where they put something in the wild and let it move around and check out how it behaves or what. But it's pillars, glass, there's curved walls, there's archways, there's magnetized containers. This part here, it looks like the landscape portrait. And then you can actually open it up to put somebody inside it. Now we're on display for the scientists to observe. Again, a lot of this is just speculation as to whether or not it's an actual creepy lab or if it's a lab for diseases, or I don't know what it's supposed to be. This here is, it's, I don't know if it's spiky crypt or spiked crypt or headstone or something. It's the one where it's like a, a stony platform and it's got the spikes come up, but it's actually two of them together. They've got one up top to make it look like a cage. And then they've got the little cross skull in there. Spike coffin, that's what it is. It was spiky something or other. This here is the back side of a portrait and the front side of one, I think. It's like two of them mushed together just to make it look a little different for the framework of this little flagpole thing. This here again is cylinders, and then they've got one of those hatcheries there. I think a lot of people were disappointed when these protostar hatchery things come out because by the looks of it, we assumed it was like clear tanks that we could also use for like for making more aquariums and that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, they've got this not quite soul frosty, weird, effervescent looking stuff in it, and it makes it solid. So you have to find other ways to use it. But this is one way, some kind of thing on display here. Get a little bit of a view outside. I guess it's like a library reading room thing. Here's that wall hanging from the plot previous. We just saw this little part here, but you can see there's a lot more to it, and they just chose to focus in on that for their little play auditorium thing. Okay, back out the way we came. Like a little maze here. Now we can go upstairs, I think. Or in windows for this little walkway here. And then you get into the little greenery that's all about. They've got the trellises and they've added the blooms. I think it's blossoming something. They've added those to, so it almost looks like weird kind of sunflowers growing. These portable planters, they've filled them with different things. You've got some greenery arrangements. It's just some brambles. Over here, they've got the small trellises that has the gourds on it, but they've also added in a mix of the drooping gorge fruit there. And then in this one, they've just got a variety of plants, even in a color shifted tree. This little entryway here, I think this is a Oran gate with pillars. And then we come into a kitchen setup here. Let's just start on this side. You've got the ship hand locker being used as a fridge, but also some airtight containers. The handles being the vintage beer mugs. Hey, Siskwe, good morning. Oh, I feel a sneeze coming on. Don't know what they're using for the glowy effect here. It reminds me of the candlelight that comes from the ritual circle thing, but also I think the Lop Shrine also has that kind of pulsating glow, but honestly, I'm not sure. They put it in both places though. An interesting effect. Here for the island, it's just a couple of cylinders joined by a hover part piece. And then the cabinets, they've kind of gone crazy with the color shifting. It's also hover part pieces. You can see how they've kind of boxed them in a little bit. And then added the staircase landings as the doors. And then using bottle top handles for the grips on those. The little magnets on the fridge, yeah. I've seen people use like miniature notes for like little sticky notes on it. A lot of people like to use the neon signs for that kind of thing. The arcade bits or like the little warning, protostar warning posters and things like that, or the Christmas ones. Those are fun if you shrink them down. I've even seen some people use the travel posters as well, like little note bits. I think I even remember there was one individual, I don't know if they did it with pillows or the ends of pillars, but with the color shifting, it probably even looked more realistic. But I think they made like a, you know how the kid magnets, like with the ABC letters, I think somebody did something along those lines. I honestly don't remember when or where, but I'm pretty sure I recall that. And now with the color shifting, you can make them actually look more kiddified, having like a red letter A and that kind of deal. Let's see. Our favorite little dome seating. We've seen a multitude of varieties of these. Um, Probably this is the simplest way to do it. It's just two pieces with whatever cushions you throw in. But since they're only using a single dome for the seat itself, you have to be picky about what kind of pillows you put in and how you're able to arrange them. If you're using ones, you can see how this one has tassels, but it's small enough that it stays inside the bowl. But if you have, like, say, the pink pillows with the tassels on all four corners and you've got it pretty snug in there and you start seeing them poking out the back, one way to combat that is to layer up um, your domes to like 2 or 3 thick. It makes it thicker and you can kind of hide the tassels a little easier. They're using the card tables as the coffee tables here. Notice how they're doing the rope bridge, having them connected with the Oran fence posts or whatever. The acorns as the anchors. Excuse me. Simple little couches here. It's just pillows, purple, and then the long ones. Here they made their own little painting. I like how they grouped it with a couple of pre-mades and then they threw in their own. Let's see if we can figure out what this is. I don't know who that's supposed to represent. I'm sure it's supposed to be something. It looks like a king that's crowned or something. Then that kind of looks like a bug. Maybe it's a spider and a fly or something. Um, Looks like they're using some kind of tree bits for the eyebrows. Um, I'm not sure if these are fence posts or what being used for whatever this is. Windows for the eyes, cylinder that's been color shifted. This I think is one of the gift bags from Winterfest, the crown part, or maybe it's the teeth. I really don't know. What does that look like to you guys? uh, the splotches, of course, are those the strain eyeball splotch or whatever, is turned from the back. A lot of people like to use them as like spilt drinks and things. And you can see that the color shifting really gives you a lot more variety now than just leaving it the stark purple. These wings or whatever those are, I think they're the ends of knives. Pink pillow here, windows, curved wall here, and then the eyes. It looks like the end of some kind of a tank. Not sure what it's supposed to be. I'm just going to say it's a spider and fly, and these are supposed to be like webs or something. I honestly don't know what that's meant to be. Again, nice orany themed. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, or just kind of like an art piece or something. It's a window, a sleeping bag, a pillar, and a candy ball. Again, they've been having fun with the color shifting. The bag and the tablet is color shifted. I like the detail here. A lot of people will put this dresser and a few other ones that have opened areas but they don't always take the time to fill the shelves. And this one actually, there's a lot of stuff in here. That I see books and towels, and even down here in the drawers, they've got items. A lot of detail that, you know, it's not that you have to put that in, but I like that they did. The cabinet here is 2x4s, staircase landings, Cassian floors. The cabinet doors are books, and then bottle tops for the handles. Cat scratching pole, I guess. I would probably latch onto that more if there was like one of those Pumera corpses nearby. I might have gotten that. That's really what that's supposed to be. Well, I wish you luck on that, Siskwy. Look at this complicated toilet. They're using the similar idea as the other one with the Dominion chair as the seat and lid, but this one's been organized with Google statues. They're using the Eldon statue as the dispenser. The back of it is, it looks like one of the exotic tables with just the legs showing, and then topped with one of those locked chests. Here is presumably their little dress-up mirror. Why it's decked out this way, I'm not sure. It almost looks like a faux door to Fairyland or something, but it's the candy bits, the frosting gateway here. I guess it's the way to use up some of that wintry decor that you otherwise wouldn't be able to use. I like the way they've done the stair stepping here for the tub. It's just Orin windows piled up and placed nicely. Again, lots of color shifting going on to really jazz it up. Noticing the little shelf up above. Again, they're able to cram in a lot of their plushie collection here. You see them all throughout. Let's see. I think that's all for this building here. There is this little part with the little pumpkin patch. Again, making it look like it's attached and being, instead of using chains, they're just using the roots of the Orin fence posts. This is just a bowl with a little bit of overgrowth hanging over it. It's a really cute idea. Let's see, now we need to go on this side, I guess. Or have we already been here? Yeah, I heard they were wanting a screenshot that showed like the other plots in the distance, and with your cave system, that would be kind of difficult to do. So similar setup as on the other side. I think the main difference is the shower here. They're using, again, the back side of, or the bottom of the hovering medical cot to make it look like you come in and kind of get sprayed with water or something. And I think that's it for the exterior. That leaves us with the bunker house. Notice how they've got a spotlight shining out of the little bit here. which I think is a fun little touch just to kind of make it look a little different. They're using, I think it's called the body analyzer or body scanner, one of those two. It's just oversized and encasing the entrance here. And of course the marine wall door bit. And you come out into this lovely, bright, colorful, and heavily organized area. So let's just go around. Just follow the arrows, I guess. Got a little seating area. You can presume that the area back here is a restaurant because they got a little signs, food and drink. Got the little crossed utensils there. I like the couches though, the little benches or whatever. It's Hugel statues, staircase landings, some pillars as well, even different types of pillars, and then of course the Tua pillows. The sign itself, besides the taco and mug and everything, is an Orin window. It's the back side. I think it's the colorful one. Head into, and you get this lovely little diner kind of setup. You've got the benches, mostly just pink pillows with Orin walls, and then Orin, well, the Hugel statues align the booths up. The tables are layered glass. Again, we've talked about how you can get multiple uh, patterns, a lot of like some make it look like roses. We've done some with hearts designs, triangles. This is kind of almost like a sun pattern, but they've added to it by using those colored screens. You can get those from the cash shop. They come in multiple colors themselves, and they've added it as an inset to the center of these tables, which really kind of jazzes it up a little bit. The center part of it is a hover part piece with an ergonomic keyboard at the center. So it's like you can put your order in here or maybe pay your check or something through the little controls here. The legs of the table are curved walls. And where you have for bigger groups here, you have for the little couples here. And they've got a similar setup. Just instead of the glass tables, they have the tree tables. Notice how they're using the orange shelf as more of a decoration kind of thing. They've just inset it with a dome and then another dome color shifted there. Using fencing for a little bit of greenery. Notice they're using the tribal mats as like carpeting for underneath. Here we got a nice little water feature. It's having a waterfall coming out of the Hugel statue. The back side is, let me think if I can remember the name of it. It's like, it looks like a urinal to me, but it's, oh, can't think of what it's called. But it's like, it's got like a little horns, and we've seen people put candles and stuff in it. Yeah, alcove, ritual alcove or alcove something. I really don't remember. But like I said, it looks like a really painful urinal to me. But I think there's two styles, and it's just the back side of one of them. And then the pool is, honestly don't know what they're using for the water. I think it's maybe just some glass. Then they've got the red moon vent. Earth render alcove. Yeah, that's probably it. You guys are really good at remembering that stuff, I tell you. And then it's just, I think it's a pink orange window and then a colorful one on the bottom. I love the little shelf here that they've got for the food displays. It's like they're using one of those Eldon screens. Again, it's one of those that you can get from the decor pack with the screens. This one actually moves a little bit, so it makes it look like it's kind of protected up. They're using cylinders as a basic kind of tiered cake. And of course, they got some of the holiday cookies, a bowl full of salad. The cabinet here, or the countertop, is just floors, cover part pieces, cylinder. I like the little taco display. Maybe that's the special of the day or something, like it's hovering there. Again, I love the table idea. Pretty fun. Again, good use of this shelf here, just making it kind of simple, like it's a little display for the wines and stuff. Using an actual door for the entrance to the kitchen area. Some people use chains because you can pass right through them. Others go ahead and put solid objects and you just jump over it, but I think because of this, that might be a little troublesome. And then into the kitchen we go. You can see they're using some of the same ideas for the cabinetry, hover part pieces, books, and then the tops of bottles for the handles. The faux door is a exotic divider with a metal divider inset and then a bottle for the handle. This little cabinet, staircase landings, Cassian floor. The refrigerators, again, same as before. This, I suspect, is maybe a dishwasher, or this is the dishwasher, and this is, I think this is the oven since it's over here where the grill is as well. So I'm gonna say this is the dishwasher. It's basically just a couple of the what's it called? Airtight containers, I think, with the vintage beer mugs for the handles, a detonator for this light, and this, I think, is the top of one of those silver pots. Books, 2x4s. The mixer is a chewa desk, a plate, and a glass, one of those with the beer filled in it. There's empty and then there's a filled, and I think it's the filled one. The coffee maker is some of those Technophage gas pumps, the gas pump. Another one of the chewa desks. The clunky fire extinguisher, of course. Looks like a Technophage door, and then the copper chewa sippy cup thing. The little toaster oven, I think, is what this is. It could be another kind of, maybe it's an ice cream dispenser. This has got these two little spouts. These are Merg Dynamite. This is the Dominion generator. You've got, looks like the Technophage doors and panels again. This base here is a travel poster, and then you've got the graded shelf there. This here, I guess, is maybe the mixer or something. Honestly, don't know what all's going on in here. I think this is one whole piece, and they've added the Ichthian lamppost or something underneath. I have no idea. The oven is, oh, what's that called? Some kind of thermometer. It's a thermometer thing. It's, I think this is the book, and then a travel poster, and then, of course, the two handles from the vintage beer mugs. The Barbie is actually a Barbie item. It comes from the summer decor pack, and they've just inset it in here. Some like to use those little, it looks like a little hibachi grill or whatever. and they'll inset that and use it. It's the one that's got like the wiener dog on it and everything. Notice the little lighting setup they have here, just to kind of change it up a little bit. Because again, these hover park pieces are typically, they've got that little cutout and they've just dressed it up a little different with 2x4s. I think that's a really nifty way of doing it. You know, most people might not even notice it, but if you kind of just give a look, you can see how it just kind of changes it up a little different. I like that. Okay, go in here. Again, here's that bench. Notice they've managed to get it to work. I think they added in some of the seats down below to make it solid, because really you typically pass through it. Either that or they fixed the silly thing, which that would be amazing if they did. Back out to the main. Let's see, where do we come in? We came in here. There's the stone door. And this is the exit to the restaurant. So this leads us to the centerpiece here, which is the fountain. I don't know what Elden piece this is, but look at how many waterfalls they used for this little beauty. Really nice looking. Probably loud as well. Today, I think, was the last day that they were able to submit their screenshots for the community showdown, and I believe, if I remember correctly, Carbine is planning to announce the winners of that on the 27th, which I think is next Friday. I think. Not this Friday coming up, but the following Friday. I'm hoping they will let us know who all participated, even if they didn't win, because I'd really like to give a little bit of showtime for all of them. Okay, let's go back this way, I guess. Here's a little seating room. I love the design on the windows. Again, that's just cleverly laying the glass on top of each other to make nice little designs. Advanced thermometer or thermostat. That's great. Thanks, Faye. I appreciate that. Here's another table design. Again, using that color panel, just add a little character to it. Using what I call the Draken pillow, but it's supposed to be a shield, but it looks like a pillow because it's actually thick and fluffy looking. As a little decoration in the center, using the tree tables as the end piece. So here, presumably, we have books and maybe like a general store kind of thing. It looks like they got a little bit of all. And boy, do they. So they got weaponry. Again, using those panels to kind of keep it in check, I guess, for the weapons. Little kids' toys in the basket here. It's just the floor, pillars, and then the graded shelves. Magazine rack. It's just, I think it's decking pieces staircase. And they're using it as like a tiered little shelf here for maybe it's magazines or books or DVDs or games or comic books. I don't know. It's one fun way of displaying your posters. Another one of the faux doors for funsies. Again, faux doors. It's the Draken. I think it's either cabinet or wardrobe. Make it look like there's. Okay, it's supposed to be the bathroom, I guess, because they're using the carrots as the character. girls and guys. All right, Siskwe, I'll pass that on. Let's see, did we see everything down below now? Here's some of those lop from the Lop Decor pack. There's actually some lop that come from another one, but I don't know if they're just regular drops or what, but they're the ones that like twirl around and dance and they make a lot of noise. And I think these are the quiet ones, which I think everybody was appreciative of because the other ones are somewhat annoying in my opinion. Okay, let's go upstairs then. Notice the little privacy panels is just part of the ergonomics keyboard and then the to a portrait there. These I take it as to be like I don't know if they're supposed to be, this looks more like a community area where they come and drink. This is made with two couches smushed together to make this little sectional, in case you're wondering. Again, the cabinet for the faux door there. And then this looks more like a little apartment kind of setup. Again, faux door, it just gives the illusion that there's more to the structure than you're actually allowed access to. If you're wondering about this frame here, that's Draken fencing for this part. So here's a lovely little bedroom. Some of the Valentine materials. But what's especially fun is the little bunk bed that they have set up here. It's just 2x4s. They got some of the Oran dressers at the bottom for storage. Color shifted sleeping bags. There's a little bit of the beach towels, the folded ones. And then some more of those funky panels. But it's a bookshelf back here that they're using, and it adds like a little extra depth for shelves for people to put their glasses or toys or whatever. So like a little kid's room here, I guess. And then of course the little kitchen here. Very ornate looking. I mean, they have like the Protostar windows. They've got one of those laser fences. Again, books for the cupboards. For the microwave, it's exile walls with, I think it's a block of a 2x4 block, like a wooden block. This part I'm not positive about. It looks like the walls, and then it has some like reinforced walls inset, but kind of only partially. And then these I think are the tops of some of those technophage tubes. And then hammers that have been color shifted for the handle. And then one of the red moon panels here. That's my best guess. The coffee maker, I think, is similar to the one below. Other than that, it's got like the Ichthian tank here. This, I think, is some of the, it's either Protostar or Red Moon lamps or something here. These are the Dominion wardrobes. I think only the Dominion have access to them. I'm not quite sure. Part of this is, I mean, they've got cylinders and floors, but this is the exotic dividers, and then again those panels. Oh, is that what those come from? All right, thanks for clarifying on that, Faye, with the lop bits coming from the Faye. They shift that so often, I can never keep track. And they don't always let you know when they're changing it either, or they don't do it for long term, so it's hard to keep track. Okay, so we went to that room. So this one here. Another lovely little living room slash kitchen. This one's much simpler for the kitchen setup. And little bedroom. I love the balcony here. It's mostly decking pieces with the railing and such. Fortune coins. Mm. Another little living room space. Again, they're all kind of similar, but they're arranged differently, so it makes it interesting. This one's got a water feature. It's mostly swirly stones. I think a pink orange window, waterfall, and such for that. I always think this looks like it's upside down. I think that's just me. Same way with the exotic chalice. It always looks like it should be the other way. Um, the ceiling is, I think, exonite wall, and then I want to say this is a combination of like the technophage doors or something, and then they've got the crystals poking out. But yeah, lovely look. It just shows you how much, you know, this is, remember, this is the bunker house. So it's just one giant room, and this is how they've decided to divvy it up, make it 2 floors. I've seen some squeeze out 3 floors, but it's pretty tough to do. But you can see you can get a lot going on here. I like how they even put in the supports here. And yeah, the pink bushes are cute. I think they're typically a green, but it really just, the color is nice. Yeah, they make them like available for like a week or so, and then they change it. I don't know if they intend to like rotate the goodies that come from that, because there's a lot of people that miss out. You know, if you kind of do like me and only come in every now and then, you have trouble keeping up and participating in a lot of that. Okay, so I think that's it. Um, Called The Willows. It's by Vorka Willowbrush. Probably my favorite part is the underground here. So bright and colorful. And there's a lot going on, but it doesn't feel overpacked or anything, because there's, you know, the open space. They didn't close this completely off. I think it was nice that they left it open as a gives it more airy feel. Let me get a good shot here. Camera keeps wigging out. There we go. So yeah, I hope you guys